A mum on TikTok has recently gone viral for trying for baby 8 whilst already being broke and posting horrifying videos of their current struggling family of 9. Now, unfortunately, this isn't even the first time that we've heard of something like this happening on TikTok before. In fact, we've made multiple videos now on the Resilient Jenkins who share a comparable story. However, this time there's a little more to this case than initially meets the eye. And we're gonna get into all of that, of course, but before we do, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If we get to 450k by the end of the month, but now waterboard myself. Anyway, let's talk about this family. Here she is, Ashley Sparkle, stay-at-home mum of 7, otherwise known as Life Sometimes Wonderful. Only sometimes. As you can see, she is Jesus-loving, day-counting, stay-at-home mother 7ing, scratch baking, and coffee mumming. Also got a link here in the bio. I wonder what this is. Oh, it's an Amazon listing. Huey's Special Way and Autism Awareness Story. What a shockingly, relatively sweet and honest way to begin this video. I like this. Start somewhere nice and wholesome and end somewhere dark. But yeah, simply, this is a pretty standard sort of stay-at-home mum account. You see loads of these on TikTok, although this one obviously has the unique feature of trying for an 8th baby whilst already being in a financially horrible situation. The whole point of this account, every video is basically predicated upon the basis of them struggling insanely. Like barely being able to put enough food on the table for the children that they do have. In fact, I say barely even, nowhere near enough, right? And you'll see this very soon in some of the more popular videos, but I'd like to look at some of the more recent stuff first. This first one I think I might actually approve of because it's beans, which I'm pretty notorious for promoting beans to lower income households on this channel.
It is noon and I am finally getting around to doing my baked beans. I've already cooked my beans. They soaked overnight. I've cooked them.
Oh.
I have saved the water that they cooked in. I now have put olive oil in a pan. Also, I thought I was recording, so sorry that I didn't get that part.
Yeah, that's actually wonderful. $1.50 can get you like multiple servings worth of beans. And beans are 1/3 protein. They're a complete energy source. Beans are amazing for lower income households. And keeping the bean water from the water that you soaked it in is actually a great move as well if you're being extra frugal. Like, yeah, you could toss that out and just use water, but that bean water is just, you know, nutrients from the beans. There's very limited evidence that it has some sort of negative fibrous effects, but again, that evidence is very limited. And also in bean-heavy households and countries, your body acclimates to that amount of fiber, or that form of fiber. They're not constantly blowing ass over in India, where beans are a staple in almost every day.
Next, I'm going to add a handful of diced onions.
Again, onions are great. Onions are great for low-income households. It's a brilliant source of vitamin C, and if you just eat rice and beans, then you can honestly get by with that most days. All you need alongside it is some fresh produce, like some fresh fruit and some fresh vegetables. Obviously, fresher foods are going to cost a little bit more, but it is a worthy investment because of all the nutrients that you're getting in said foods. Onion is an extremely common one. That is why basically all form of rice and beans has an onion at some point in the meal. In fact, any good meal has onions somewhere in it. If you're eating like a very simple beef stew, for example, you notice if the onion's not there, it sort of just tastes like dog food. But again, the main usage of it in meals like this is to provide very much needed vitamin C to prevent you from getting rickets or anything along those lines, which aren't really diseases that exist anymore or illnesses that exist anymore because our diets are so varied.
To my pan. Turn it on. And I have, it calls for 8 ounces. I'm just going to do a couple. Just gonna use my scissors here and chop me up some bacon. So I'm pretty sure the instructions, I do not remember what the instructions actually say.
I'm not too hot on the bacon for a not financially well-off family. However, of course, you know, you're entitled to have treats and tasty food. In my mind, just the beans and the onions is enough for like with some spices on there. You can get the bean water in there too. That's enough for a relatively tasty and nutritious meal. And not only that, but it's very much something you can make in batch and freeze and have like as the week goes on. It's like a very popular weeknight meal. The bacon's not going to add much nutritionally to the meal, but yeah, maybe it'll make it tastier for sure. And I'm not about to tell this family like how to cook necessarily based on what I've seen so far. I'm not really seeing anything too offensive so far. But again, just to remind you guys, we are starting off light, and as the video progresses, things get more and more alarming.
To do so, you might want to look up a recipe yourself, but I feel like it actually said I needed to cook the bacon first and then add the onions. I'm gonna do it together because I don't know. Yeah. Honestly, because I added my onions first. That's about the only.
Yeah, there will be a bit of an issue there. The bacon's going to be very soggy because the onions release a lot of water, especially the onions that you used, white onions, which have the most water content out of any onion. That's why they're so popular in Mexican cooking, like as raw onions just on a taco or something, because then it's like a little bit of a flavor bomb as you bite into it. So the bacon is not going to crisp up in the way that you want it. The pan's just going to be way too wet.
Not sure how big these are supposed to be, so I'm kind of just winging it at this point. So, no. While my bacon cooked, I put in a bowl some molasses, brown sugar, ketchup, mustard, smoked paprika.
Thing is, I would say, as much as I said I didn't have a problem with the bacon, that's only really if it's cooked well. Because if it's like chewy and the fat is not rendered properly and it's not healthy, then there really is no point having it there. Like if you're gonna use bacon, you need to know how to prepare it well. Let's just see what the final product is because I want to move on.
So I think maybe it just doesn't need as much water. I'm gonna turn it down. Yeah, you think so? And since this is for tomorrow, I'm gonna add a little bit of the water. And I'm gonna save a little bit more water. I'm gonna put the lid on this and let it cool down. And I will just bake it tomorrow. Really fast. Really fast. This is what it looks like after I added the liquid, the water. So I'm just gonna turn it off now and let it finish cooking maybe on here until it cools off a little bit. I'm gonna move it to the back and then eventually I will put it in a Tupperware container and add it to my sir.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, the meal looks good. Maybe got 2 adult servings in there, or 1 very big adult serving, perhaps. But again, this is a family of 9 with 7 children. And even if you eat this meal with rice, which you don't need to, but kids, obviously, they're gonna need a little more carbohydrates, so throw some rice on there for them. And again, rice is not, you know, expensive at all either. Then you've got, like, very decent, very nutritious, very energy and financially efficient home cooking. However, the portion control here is just not good enough. Like for 7 children, this is nothing. They will not be satiated in the least. And it's a little confusing because like the ingredients being used here, beans especially, are so cheap that you can afford to use a lot of them. And there's a lot of room in this pot as well. I just don't understand why she made such a small serving size. Because this is like one of the few times where money isn't really an excuse. Like you can use more beans and it won't really affect you too much. Beans last for so long and you can buy so many of them that like you basically have an infinite supply. This is one of her most popular videos. It's her going grocery shopping. And this is where we see a couple of issues creep in. Obviously, this is all gearing up to them trying for a baby, child 8, despite being in this situation that we've not fully grasped the seriousness of yet. But again, we will get to that. But this bit here is just more about like financial irresponsibility, if that makes sense. A lot of the time when I see these videos, especially recently, I've developed a lot more sympathy for the people who don't know exactly how to shop for their very large and poor family, because I feel as though it's partially a blight on American education, or how, not even American education, but just in general, people not knowing how to shop frugally is a real issue. And I've been finding it more and more difficult to blame the person shopping themselves and more the resources they had growing up for not teaching them how to shop properly. Like learning how to shop and cook on a budget, I think is something everyone should know, especially in today's economy. Even people who are privileged and wealthy enough to go to university a lot of the time. I don't know how many of you are in university now even. There's always one person in the dorm who just eats like chicken nuggets every day because they genuinely have no idea how to cook. And in a way, it's like, yeah, it's very easy to judge those people. And maybe I do a little bit, but it's also a case of like, how sad is it that you don't know how to do this very basic human thing that everyone should know how to do to an extent at least. Like I've known people who couldn't even boil an egg. And I think that's criminal.
My husband was just paid $810 for the last 2 weeks. He's on workman's comp. We are a family of 9 and we need groceries.
Workman's comp, that's an American term, I think. What is that? It's a state or country mandated insurance program. So from what I understand, it's like, it's the payment for medical care and replacement of lost wages if an employee gets like sick or hurt on the job.
I am at Winco Foods, which is like our local cheap grocery store. Let's see how much I can get for about $125-ish.
To be fair, $125 for a family of 9. I know 125, that's what is that, like 100 Great British pounds? Maybe just a little bit under. For a family of 9, you can do that pretty simply.
Birthday, and then we have one bill that has to be paid out of this.
Okay, right off the bat, these cannot, you have to get rid of these. Or at the very least, get the bare essentials, the actual nutritious, like, fruitful and satiating foods in there first that you can make your weeknight meals with. And then at the end, maybe with whatever spare or surplus money you have, you can buy your Lay's barbecue flavored chips. Fuck me. Crisps. I'm being infected now. Frozen pizzas, I understand, as much as I'm not a fan of them. Unfortunately, something a lot of people don't understand about being poor is that you don't really have the time to cook a lot, which is why obviously I very much encourage beans once again, because you can make one huge batch and then just freeze it and have it as the week goes on. However, I also understand that something as simple as boiling an egg is harder if you're poor. I understand it, right? Because you have to boil the water, and that costs money. You also need a pot that can boil water, and pots cost money too. Especially if you're buying lower quality pots, then they're more likely to sort of damage easier or be replaced, right? So there's a lot more to it than just the price of the ingredients, 100%. And then of course there's the time that you have to take into a lot of that stuff as well, which when you're a family of 9 is obviously very much of the essence. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of comments here saying like, you need to be working too, mama, with 100,000 likes. And I really do understand those comments, because it just makes sense that if you're struggling this much with only $810 every 2 weeks on workers' comp, then you know, you should be working too as the mother. However, I also understand that there's 7 children involved in this picture, and if they don't have money for food, then they definitely don't have money for a nanny or some sort of care service, or maybe they don't have a family member who can come through and take care of them. Like, not everyone's that fortunate. So there are very much good arguments for and against the mother herself working. I think for once on this channel, I'm actually not going to take a strongly convicted stance there, because I honestly don't know. It's such a hard situation that I have a lot of sympathy for. So I'm honestly, I genuinely can't. I can't come up with like the right answer. Should she be working? Should she be at home with the children? Which is a full-time job, by the way, that unfortunately you just don't really get paid for. I mean, it's a full-time job with what, 1 or 2 children, let alone 7. However, of course, the issue with me saying this is that this family went viral for trying for another baby despite struggling this much already, and only having 1 working parent. And that's where it becomes a lot less complicated. Like, that is something you shouldn't be doing. And I can, like, you know, confidently say that much. But again, I'm not, like, mad at this comment saying that she should be working. I completely understand what they mean by that. A lot of comments like this, both of you should be working, with 76,000 likes. Those apples. Apples are good, to be fair. Apples are a very good choice. I back that one. Always good to have some, you know, some fresh produce in there. Again, though, this should wait till the end. You need to get, like, the bag. You need to get, like, get your rice, get your beans, and then, like, some potatoes, a little bit of protein, like some cheap proteins. I don't even know what half of these are. What is this? Just, is that blended cheese? More cheese? Is that, like, a yogurt as well?
This is your favorite yogurt?
Yeah, see the dino nuggets and the dino nuggets I really don't understand though. If you buy a bunch of chicken breasts or even a whole chicken and learn how to carve it. Oh no, not even that. If you just buy a whole chicken and learn how to make soup with it, then you're golden. That's like on the same level. That's like an incredibly easy and financially and energy efficient meal. And again, it's something that you can batch freeze, and a whole chicken is a lot cheaper and smarter of a financial decision than like little pieces of chicken breast or thigh. It's also a very easy way to get more vegetables into your diet too. And it's delicious as well. Like, it is delicious. I don't know how scientifically backed this is, but I feel as though if you get your kids hooked on like processed foods and chicken nuggets and like seasoned fries off the bag directly from childhood, it might be harder for them to sort of escape those habits as they grow older. I remember my ex, obviously, who lived in Scotland, had like a very bland taste palette. Because growing up in Scotland, of course, like most people, they ate very bland foods. Doesn't mean it tasted bad by any means, but it was very bland. So when they came to visit my parents, of course, we'd like, you know, we'd chill and we'd cook food, and my parents would cook very much African food, right? Which is not bland, because it had so many like different types of spices, and it was quite fatty, but in like a different way from how UK food is fatty. For whatever reason, it would like destroy her for a week after eating like, you know, this type of food for a couple days straight, because her body was just so not used to that amount of flavor. And it's not like an isolated incident. I've heard about this sort of thing happening to plenty of people, so I feel like it's decently important to give your children somewhat of a varied diet to the extent that you can, of course, when you're sort of raising them. Obviously, this isn't really something that goes through most people's minds, but basically the point I'm trying to make here is hold off on the dino nuggets and the pre-made chips, and you can make your own stuff. Like if you make a chicken soup and just chuck some potatoes in there to boil with the soup, then you've got your potatoes, you've got your chicken in a much healthier and, in my opinion, tastier manner too.
Okay, my total was 85 and some change.
That was the whole shop. There really was nothing of substance in that shopping cart. That was $85 as well. Jesus Christ. Okay, you know what? I really do actually have a problem with this.
Definitely not great considering I will have to come back and get some stuff. I realized that there's a few meals I wanted to make, and I need to see what ingredients I actually need for them before I go grocery shopping. So I'm gonna go home, put all this away, and head to Target. My husband was just paid $810 for the last 2 weeks.
Target? Were they in Target? Target's probably not the best place to go if it's like a budget store. I don't know if you have Aldi over in America. Do you have Aldi in America? Yeah, you do have Aldi. Well established, in fact. Okay, nice. Yeah, Aldi's great if you want like, if you want sort of budget food or budget ingredients, and it's still delicious. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, and the thing is as well, it's like, maybe I'm underestimating how much of this is due to her ignorance, because she's uploading a video to TikTok, and if I look up sort of you know, cheap meals for large families on TikTok, I'm sure I'll be able to find some very educational videos on TikTok itself. Let's have a look at this video.
I'm gonna show you how you could feed a family of 4 for $5. Let's make a meal. All right, we're gonna start with some onions. We're gonna look for the smallest onion in the bunch. We don't need anything too large. And then I just realized the sweet onions are the same price, so you'll get more flavor out of this. All right, let's grab some pasta. We're gonna use the store brand. It's 10 for 10, so they're $1. Do a farfalle. You know, I've always been a sauce from scratch type of guy. This is $1.69. It has, let me see, we got garlic and herb. It already has the garlic in it, it has herbs in it, and a sauce. We're getting an onion, so we're building flavor now. We're on a budget, baby. Let's make it work. Okay, we got zucchinis at $1.99 a pound. So let's find a good one. All right, you guys may just see a couple of ingredients. What I see is I got garlic, I got herbs, I got flavor. I got an onion zucchini, we got pasta. We're building the flavor, we gotta make it work. All right, we got 78 cents on the zucchini, 169 on the pasta. It's supposed to be $1. We'll figure that out in a second. Oh, there we go. 72 cents on the onion. She accidentally scanned something else for $5.99. She took it off. Our total is $4.19.
Interesting. Okay, so there isn't really, I don't mean to sound like a dick here, but there's no protein in this meal. And again, for growing children especially, protein is incredibly important. So, I mean, I don't know if you man are gonna hate me for this, but it needs some beans. And you can definitely find a can of beans in there for 80 cents. I think that you can still do that within the budget. In fact, you could probably just get rid of the courgette, not zucchini, it's a courgette, and then you'll have even more room for beans, and then it's like a more balanced meal because there's proteins in there too. Because the courgette's good, there's vitamin C in there, but that's sort of provided by the onion. You've got the tomatoes there as well. You're getting all the nutrients you need from like the fruit and veg. He's made a meal here. It looks lovely. That looks like a perfectly fine meal. Again though, with the beans it'd be perfect in my mind, but this is like a good meal, no problem. Okay, this is apparently a £1 dinner.
It's day 3 of 30 days of £1 dinners, and today we're making tomato orzo for 62p per portion. To make this recipe for 4 people, you want to saute a couple of onions with some garlic, and then add in 350 grams of orzo, a tin of tomatoes, and whatever seasoning you've got. I went for some paprika, mixed herbs, salt and pepper. Cook that for a couple of minutes before slowly adding in about 1 litre of vegetable stock. You can add more if you think it needs it, but just cook it through until all of the orzo is cooked. Then finally you can stir through some hard Italian cheese and you're done.
No shot is that £1. Okay, I'm sorry. Look, I know I'm trying to like defend this lady, but this is a lie. That's not £1. No chance. And again, it needs beans. The point is, there are very good and valid tutorials online that are very easy to find. They're extremely accessible to anyone with internet access that can teach you how to feed a family of 9, you know, with not really any issues nutritionally. Unfortunately, however, you are going to have to bite the bullet and sort of accept that whilst you are still poor and have this huge family, you won't be able to eat new and interesting foods every day. You might not be able to have treats like dino nuggets and stuff as much as you might like to. And it sucks. It sucks that we live in an economy where where poor people are unable to eat interesting foods as much as they probably should do. And of course, the fact that being poor sucks so much is almost by design to an extent, in this Western economy at least. Some people might make the argument that it's even a good thing because it encourages people to work harder and smarter, and that living in a society where working harder and smarter is rewarded is actually great. Regardless of whatever you think of that, though, I'm hopeful that we're all in agreement that that food and nutrition and resources along those lines should be shared a little more equitably than they currently are. I don't know, is it controversial to say that I don't think any child should be starving or struggling to an uncomfortable amount with food, or basically any amount of sustenance, especially when they definitely don't need to be. Regardless, she did respond to a lot of comments surrounding that quite viral video. Someone responded, just a bunch of convenience food, no real food, to which this is her video response, I guess.
You're just the one that I happened to click on. I need to address quite a bit, apparently, because my comment section is crazy with judgment for one small little tidbit of the food I buy for my children. So, clearing some things up, the pizzas were under $3. Steal of a deal. My kids love pizza. We truly do not do it very often. And my kids haven't felt great.
I wasn't too angry at the frozen pizzas, to be honest, but I'm not surprised that her kids aren't feeling great in the least mean way possible.
I have every right to get an easy meal to feed my children on days when I'm going on 2 hours of sleep. Now, let me go show you my kitchen. Flour, my Tillamook cheese, corn, green beans, black beans, refried beans, seasonings, soups, more soups, a can of chili that we've had for quite a while. We don't really eat it. Tuna fish, pastas, more pasta.
Why is she talking like a fucking twat? Why is she speaking like that? It's really annoying. Why is she doing that? Why is she speaking in that tone of voice? So also, this isn't what you shop. You bought dino nuggets and you bought french fries and a bunch of other irrelevant, stupid bullshit. Like, this isn't what we saw. Like, you can't really judge them for this comment.
Some instant pastas. Cornbread, as well as cornmeal up there so I can make it from scratch. Ground chicken that I'm actually using for dinner. Ground turkey. Hamburger.
1 pound of ground chicken for 9 people. That's insane. Unless maybe she was just showing one of her packets, but 1 pound of chicken is not going to be anywhere... For 9 people? What is that, like $1.50 per person? No. I'm a huge idiot. It's way less than that. 110 grams, but no, wait, hang on. A pound is half a kilogram. So it's like 60 grams of ground chicken per person. No, less than that. Fuck me. I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, but there's 2 adults and 7 children. Yeah, it's not great either. Again, you just gotta... Come with the beans, man. Also, like, if you open the video up with, look, we have the bare essentials at home, everything's fine, but we're going out to buy some snacks and some goods for the kids to enjoy a little bit more. Everyone would have taken it in stride. They would have been like, you know what, this is... With that added context, it makes it a lot more bearable. But now that you're showing us your actual gap, it makes it seem as though you were just trying to rage bait people and then sort of do a bait and switch. Like, you thought I was a horrible mother, but no, look, I have, like, some reasonable things at home as well.
Veggies. Chicken. There's a roast ham.
Frozen veg is good. I don't mind the frozen veg at all. Again, peas though. Peas aren't very nutritious, I don't think. If you get like frozen veg, you know what? I'll show you what I have. So I get stuff like this a lot, just at whatever shop I'm near. It's like frozen broccoli, frozen carrots, and then there's some sweet corn as well, which is a bit of a bullshit vegetable, but like, I don't know, it tastes good, I guess. But the broccoli and the carrots are nice, and there's usually onion and everything I eat too, so that's like, you know, that's enough nutrition, I think, vegetable-wise. You use like a Durex glass like this as well, it's dead easy, because all you need to do is sort of pour whatever frozen veg you want into the glass like this, fill that up with water, put it in the microwave for 5 minutes, and then boom, the veg is thawed. And then you can just add a little bit of butter or some salt or some pepper or whatever, season it as much as you want, and then you're good to go. A bit of lemon if you want. But yeah, a lot of the time frozen veg is cheaper than fresh produce, and a lot of the time it's also healthier because they freeze it at the best point of the year, right? So you're getting the fruit and the vegetables at their best possible quality. Obviously there are exceptions, but like, yeah, generally frozen veg is a perfectly fine purchase for a poorer family.
There's steaks down here. There's bacon, rice. So, now that you've seen my kitchen, I did not show my fridge, and I promise my kids had berries at one point in time. They are all gone. like literally.
Berries are great. Blackberries are, I think, the most nutritious, like nutritionally dense or efficient fruit. Blackberries and kiwi. More of those in your diet? Trust me, you'll be golden. Eat the skin of the kiwi too. Thank me later. Obviously, don't just like gnaw into it like an apple, but if you cut the kiwi into like thin circles, then you can eat the skin and it won't be a problem.
They're gone as soon as they walk through my house. So, I do have oranges. I could go get those and show them to you too. I'm sorry I didn't. I also have apples. I could have gotten those out also. And carrots and cucumbers. Again, could have shown you even more. And I can if you'd like me to. Just let me know. Not a problem. Not a problem. But to say that I am only buying junk food, while that might be semi-true, I bought eggs. I bought cheese. I bought stuff I needed to make meals as well as a couple conveniences. Dino nuggets, easy lunch, pizzas, and easy dinner. I bought some brand name stuff. They were on sale. Yeah, I really don't know what you guys want from me, but there you go. Hope you enjoyed a walk through my kitchen.
Yeah, I'm not gonna backtrack though. That initial video of the shopping haul or whatever it was bad. Like, if that was the basis of what she was feeding her family, that would be objectively really bad. We can have a look at the first dinner video that she made after this shopping vlog though, and like, there's reasonable cause for worry here, I think.
Taco baked potatoes, my 3-year-olds, my baby, my 4-year-old, mine, my husband's, 2 of my children are having that Red Baron pizza that everybody was so concerned that I bought. And then 2 of my other children are not here. So this is dinner tonight. It's amazing. Highly recommend. Taco baked potatoes all the way. Since so many people are worried about what I feed my children,
That's insane, dude. 4-year-old. Look, this is not enough food for a 4-year-old. Half of it is just fucking cheese. See, this is what if you don't have money to provide like a bigger portion size for your children, that's why you need to cut the fucking dino nuggets out of the shopping spree. That's why you need to replace your canned beans with dried beans. They're way cheaper, they last way longer. They don't last longer, but they last long enough to where like using them won't be an issue. Canned beans are more convenient, but like the time it takes to prepare dried beans is all time, like, you don't need to be next to the beans sort of observing them. You just soak them and then leave them. It's unattended time. You also should be I don't know, maybe there's just not an Aldi in the area, but like, you should be going to Aldi as well. But like, everything that she's shown in this video, I could just eat all of this. That'd be like one meal for me. Okay, now we get into the drama regarding child 8.
I'm about to get in the shower, but I decided I wanted to take one more test because I'm crazy. After that one sat and like all the color went through, I definitely saw a line. This one had all the color go through. You want to get in with me? Yeah. Sure. And it has been probably 7 minutes or 8 minutes, honestly. It was past the 5-minute timer that I set. I'm gonna show you my test and you can let me know what you think. Bottom I just took, middle was earlier today, top was sometime yesterday. So, yes or no? Is it darker? I can't tell. I feel like they're getting a little bit darker. But, yeah, I don't know. Feel more confused than I was before. Usually my lines get darker faster than this, so even if it is possible, it makes me kind of wonder if, because I have an IUD, if like maybe it's not a viable pregnancy. Like I said, we weren't actually trying for baby number 8, so it is what it is. I'm trying not to get my hopes up either way. I'm gonna call my midwife in the morning and see if I can go in for some blood work and see what's going on. I'm trying to make it so you can see the line because like I feel like on camera it doesn't show, but there it is. Maybe it's an indent line. But I've had definitely negative and I see color to it, like, oh, sorry, in person. I don't know how to like zoom in using the camera, so I'm just putting my phone closer.
Caption is just another pregnancy test to see if I'm actually pregnant with baby 8. Do you see a line? I think I'm driving myself crazy at this point, like a Dora the Explorer episode. Now, at the very basis of this video, I think it's insane that you're coming to TikTok and showing them your pregnancy test so that they can determine whether or not you are pregnant. That's a pretty huge life decision. You would know, you've done it 7 times already. Is TikTok really the best place to get advice in not even just on pregnancy in general, but on whether or not you are pregnant? It's like, you're gonna call your midwife tomorrow. Why don't you call the midwife first, get their professional opinion, and then come to TikTok maybe? Unless, of course, the entire point of this is to provoke and get people angry because you know that as a struggling family of 9, you probably shouldn't really be trying for baby 8 anyways. However, the big plot twist to this video, the thing that I haven't mentioned yet that will blow your goddamn tiny little minds, she has an IUD. Now, IUDs make it pretty much impossible for you to, well, you can be pregnant, but like they terminate the pregnancy pretty fucking quickly. Most of the time, it just like, you know, prevents any amount of pregnancy from happening. They're a pretty solid form of birth control that are like, is pretty hard to bypass. Why would you be trying for a baby when you have an IUD in? I'm not recommending you do this, but if you were genuinely trying for a baby and you were in the right financial position to do so, probably get the fucking IUD removed first. Horrific story, off topic by the way, but I heard of a girl one time who like sneezed her IUD out. I don't know, apparently she had like, this is what her words by the way, not mine. Apparently she had a very uniquely shaped pussy. I don't know exactly. I don't know how true this is, but like she had no reason to lie, so I'm just gonna assume it's true. That must have been fucking horrific. That must have been so painful, dude. I'm so curious if anyone watching this actually, you know what? Is that like an inappropriate question to ask if any of you have had that happen to you? I'm not gonna ask the question, but I will just wonder. I'll just wonder. I think on the off chance that you are pregnant and you do have an IUD in, that's like very, very much a sign of danger actually. Like it's very worrying. Let me double check that. That's right, when the embryo implants outside of the womb, it can cause the fallopian tube to just burst because it can't contain it essentially. And then it can like, that's a lot of bleeding as well. Honestly, that's like a genuine medical emergency if you become pregnant with an IUD, and that's like, you need to get that sorted immediately. The IUD strings also create a bridge for bacteria to enter the womb, so serious risk of infection. And then even if the pregnancy does go through and it like carries out for months and nothing really goes wrong, the chance of miscarriage is incredibly high. And even if there is no miscarriage, then there's a higher chance of like premature births or water breaking very early. Yeah, just not a fun time. Like, don't get pregnant. If you have an IUD in and you feel as though there's something coming, or you like there's even like a second thought, or you think you're overthinking about being pregnant, still take the test. It's very much worth doing, because if you do happen to be pregnant, it's a fucking emergency. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. Like, genuinely, you can never be too safe. Now this video here should give you a little bit more of a sort of idea of how barely afloat this family are. Talks a little about her husband's job here too.
We are barely afloat. Don't get me wrong. We are barely surviving.
Okay, off topic, but I've heard the Hoover / vacuum cleaner / dust sucker, whatever you call it in your part of the world. I've heard it in the background of both this video and the last one. I hope it's the dad using it to clean the flat, or the gaff, or wherever they live, right? What I'm getting at here is that I'm very much hopeful that it's not one of the children being like forced to become man of the house, or like an adult way too quickly, or sort of be a mother to the other siblings, which is almost kind of inevitable when there's 7 children in a financially struggling household already. But I just hope that the kids have the opportunity to just be kids and not have to grow up too quickly, if that makes sense. Something we've spoken about multiple times on this channel. It's a huge problem when the kids are being used as sort of a muse to parent or be a mother or a father to the other children. It sort of stunts their childhood in my mind, a very harmful way.
Is it worth it? 110,000%. I would do it over and over and over again. But it's been hard the last like year. My husband had a really good job. We were doing great financially. And then his school schedule got to be too much with the job he was working, because he would work 12, 16-hour days, 5-6 days a week. And it was just too much. He was getting too far behind in school. And so he took a lower paying job by a lot. Like, I want to say it was probably $8 less than what he was making, and now he also doesn't get any overtime. But he had to do that to do schoolwork, so he works evenings now until about 2 a.m. and then he does schoolwork during the day. He gets to graduate in July,
And then he'll be making even more than what he was making at his previous job.
No, just to be clear, this is not a situation that, like, I think anyone has the right to insult or make fun of. This is an incredibly difficult situation that a lot of people find themselves in, unfortunately. This guy here is obviously in school, but he's working as well, and he's got 7 children, and also a wife that doesn't work, so there's a lot of things to balance here, a lot of responsibility to bear at such a young age. And just to be clear, this amount of responsibility wouldn't bode well for anyone of any age, particularly. So making the decision between, can I drop out of school and make a little bit more money, or should I stay in school, work a lesser paying job, hopefully with plans to like get a higher paying one after school because the degree might land me a higher paying job. It's legitimately a very tough decision, and it's one that I have a lot of sympathy for, so I'm not gonna like make fun of that or criticize them for whatever decision they chose to make here. What I can criticize them for, obviously, is trying for baby 8. I say that, yeah, they're barely afloat here, then why on earth would you be trying for another baby? Even if you do have an IUD in and the chances are very low, like, what the fuck is, it's just so weird. It's like, it's depressing, it's horrible, it's immoral, but more than any of that, it's just fucking weird and confusing.
We decided to go ahead and do what we did, and it's gonna be worth it, and I'm so excited for it. It is so hard. We get to see each other a couple times a week after the kids go to bed, or like we can have conversations or like watch a movie together. That's been pretty challenging on our marriage on top of having a baby, but we are committed to it and we are making the best of it. And yeah, so thank you for your kind comment, and I'm glad I could clear some things up. I am a stay-at-home mom though. I do not currently work. I am considering doing in-home childcare, but as of right now, just don't think it's quite the right time for us. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and again, that's not a decision that I think is worthy of too much criticism, unless you guys think that I'm missing something here, or there's like a blind spot when it comes to very low financial households, if that makes sense. 2 parents that are clearly very stressed. But I will say, I think this TikTok might be like positive in a way. Like if she's making money off of this TikTok, that kind of counts as a job or some sort of form of income, I guess. One thing I also really do appreciate is that whilst, yeah, the children can be seen in some of these videos, they're definitely not plastered all over the account. This is one of the few family accounts that I've covered on this channel where if you cut the children out of all the videos and they were never shown, nothing really would change in the content. So I honestly wouldn't even criticize her for exploiting her children. I don't think there is much child exploitation here, unless maybe you mean it in a more indirect sense of like she's exploiting the children for like just like she's exploiting their existence, if that makes sense, but not like a direct showing their faces, oversharing their like private stuff, that kind of exploitation. This video is called Probably My Final Update About Baby 8 5 months postpartum.
About possibly being pregnant with baby number 8 5 months postpartum. And I can't decide how I feel about it. I took a test this morning.
Look, I mean, if you want another kid, at the very least, could you not just wait a little bit? Like, these are 2 quite young parents, especially parents with 7 children. They're very young. Let your husband finish school first and then get, like, a higher paying job. At least, you know? You shouldn't be struggling this much and like, plan to have another baby.
Had no line, pretty much. Like, it looked, I think it's lighter than it was the other ones. And then the one I just took has a line, but it has like this weird dye thing on it, so I think it's just like a dye pole type. I don't know what it's called, but I'm pretty sure it's negative. So let me show you the test. Here's the tests. This one is the one I took this morning. This is the one I just took.
Why does she keep doing these stupid fucking tests at home? Like, just go to the doctor and get a proper test instead of wasting your time doing like 50 every day and showing them to your TikTok. It makes no sense. It just doesn't make any, this is what I mean. It's like, it doesn't even make me mad necessarily anymore. I'm just confused. Like, my emotions have gone from red to gray. You know when you're playing like a video game and you just can't get past a level and you start off really angry, but then you just keep going and going and going, and you can't really stay angry for that long, so it goes from red to gray, like I just said, and you're just like, ugh, and then it ends, and you're not even happy that it's over. It's just complete, consistent consternation.
You kind of still see the lines, but not really. I am pretty certain this one has no line at all. If it does, it definitely would be more of an indent. This one has a line that I can see. But like I said, I think it's just from the way the dye is all weird there. I think I maybe...
They're all negative, dude. It doesn't take it... They're all... Nothing's gonna work! This girl definitely was fucking forcing square pegs into circular holes as a kid. They're all negative. It's fucking negative, dude.
Used too much or something, I don't know. But
I'm pretty certain when I go and pick up my digital test from Target later, when they say it's ready, it will say not pregnant. And I feel semi-relieved that that's probably what it'll say, but I have to admit, I'm a little sad. We might not have been planning or wanting baby number 8 right now, but when you think you can or could be pregnant, you kind of like start to mentally prepare for it, and you start to wonder what that person's going to be and what they'll become, or, you know, how they'll fit with your family and all the things. And so, yeah, it's like a mix of emotion. It's relief because, like I said, we're not ready for another baby. That's why I have an IUD in. But it's also kind of sad.
Okay, so now she's saying that they're not planning for a baby, or they're not trying for a baby, which directly contradicts. Does she just change her mind every day? Today, I'm going to tell the TikTok that we're trying for a baby despite having an IUD, and oh, the comments didn't like that one. Let me change the story for the next one.
I'm a mom to 7 kids. I always wanted 7 kids. I now have 7 kids, and I feel like maybe I actually want 8.
See, look, this is what I mean. It doesn't make any sense. She just said, we are not trying for a baby. We don't want an 8th one. We're not ready. So it's relieving in a way. And then the start of this video is, you know, I really want baby number 8. Let's do it. Day 1 of trying for a baby. It's like, what the fuck was the other video about then? What is going on here? Looks like the other one was December of last year, whereas this one was April of this year. So I don't know if within in a 4-month period, they've gone from being barely afloat to financially viable for a 8th child. I don't know if maybe the TikTok was losing some steam and she wants to rage bait people a little bit now. Maybe she was playing the long game and showing people just how, how poor they were to make them really fucking angry when she makes a video like this. And as you can see, it has 235 likes and 79 comments. That is incredibly high engagement and comments for a video of this little approval.
Problem is, we are in a 4-bedroom apartment, and that's really just not doable price-wise. So I have an IUD in. But I did post a video a while back about how I thought maybe I was pregnant with my IUD. A ton of people informed me that they got pregnant while on an IUD. So I have decided.
Yeah, well, it is possible, but it's not like, you know, it's not normal. The chances are so astronomically low. What she's saying here, this is fucking ridiculous. This is the most insane shit ever. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to find the words in the English language to demonstrate how befuzzled I am right now. It's like, you have an IUD in, you're trying for a baby, you have no money, your husband's still in school, none of it lines up.
Trying for baby number 8 with an IUD in. So I have an ovulation test. Let's take it. Okay, there it goes. I'm sure I'm gonna get a bunch of comments saying how irresponsible this is of me and how could I possibly want an 8th when I already have 7 and you're living in an apartment and all the things. I think you're probably right. Not all of it, but I do. I want one. I want one so bad. Not bad enough to go get my IUD out, which I could do, and that would be irresponsible of me. But if you'd like to follow along on this journey of me trying to get pregnant while having an IUD in, like this video, hit the follow, and leave a comment because I'm curious.
Does she think that, like, this is an appealing series idea that's gonna get her TikTok a lot of traction? Is that what the deal is here? It's the whole, I know this is a bad idea, but I'm doing it anyway. Is she, like, self-destructive? Is that, like, a weird psychological thing, maybe? And she needs, like, therapy or some shit? Is this all really just rage bait? Because now I'm kind of getting the vibe that it is a little bit rage baity.
Gotten pregnant with an IUD, let me know in the comments, because, you know, I'm here for it. I'll be back in a few minutes. Well, as you can see, I am definitely not ovulating. Probably not even close to ovulating. I'm not even sure if I can ovulate with my IUD. I Googled it and it said I can, in fact, ovulate with an IUD, but I am also still breastfeeding, and who knows. So, come back tomorrow for my next test. I'm a mom to 7 kids. I always wanted 7 kids.
This has to be some weird kink or addiction to being pregnant, because at this point you think you love your children, but you don't. You would not be putting them through the financial struggle and instability if you actually love them. You're genuinely horrific for this. They will truly resent you, especially when you're putting this on the internet and not making enough TikTok funds to support said baby. I wonder when the CPS update will be. Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but there does seem to be some sort of like pregnancy addiction, if this is as true as it is. Like maybe the idea of breeding really does something for her. Again, this is like very speculative now, so I'm going to stop that line of thinking, to be honest. Maybe she just loves babies, and when they grow older and they're not babies anymore, she's like, shit, I want another baby. So you get a lot of people who say they love children, but they only really like babies. And then you get a lot of people who say they love children, but they fucking despise babies because they're sticky and disgusting, which is, you know, fair enough.
Day 2 of trying to conceive baby number 8 with an IUD. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, no, this isn't real. It's not real. There's no way. Look, this whole video, I'm like doing devil's advocate, like maybe it's real, maybe it's not. It's not real. There's no way. No one's this dumb. No one's this weird. No one's this confusing. This is not a real thing. She's rage baiting. This can't be real. It's not. I'd put my fucking life savings that this is rage bait. There's no way, dude.
Just took a shower, and I decided while I was taking a shower, I should probably take a test because life is crazy today. Today's Monday. Got a lot going on. So I'm gonna just dip my stick here and let it roll across. There it goes. Now I'm gonna go to the Pre-Mom app and set the timer, so I'll be back. Okay, timer's going, 7 minutes. I am 9 months postpartum.
See, I thought she'd say some bullshit like this. Isn't an IUD placed to prevent pregnancy? Genuinely curious. Yes, it is, but in a previous post, I thought I might have been pregnant, and so many said they got pregnant with an IUD. We aren't in a place to have another baby, but if I were to get pregnant with an IUD, I feel like it was meant to be, if that makes sense. Eventually, we will remove it and actively start trying, but for now, I want to try it this way. If that is the case, which I hate that I'm even suspending disbelief now, because I'm 100% now on the rage bait train, then surely not trying for the baby and happening to become pregnant, that's like a sign that it's meant to be. If you're actively trying to make something happen and then it happens, that's just you trying to do something and then it happening. It's like if I was sleeping and I walked all the way over to this chair and, you know, recorded everything and set my shit up and all these lights and then did this video in my sleep and I'm not even fucking conscious right now, and then did a thumbnail and uploaded it and did all that shit on my ones without even knowing it, then that's like oh my god, this is like sublime. This is some supernatural shit. Like it was just meant to be that I made this video. That's not what happened though. I sat down, I got my microphone on, I set up Audacity, I did all the regular YouTube shit, and I put it out. And I would never say, oh, this video was meant to be. It's like, no, it's just, I wanted to make a video and I made a video. It's not that complicated, really. Even when it comes to children and childbirth and that, I'm not really too sure how I feel about the usage of divine and sublime words like meant to be or the magic of childbirth or anything like that, like the Disney shit. I understand like the feeling of incredible sublimity or divinity or magic, right, for lack of a better term. I get it. If we're having like a scientific or a pragmatic conversation about childbirth or parenting, I don't feel as though those words should be being used because it's very much an explainable phenomenon. It's like the most researched thing ever. We understand how babies are made. We understand pregnancy to a very large extent. We understand reproduction. We know all the cells and all the processes that go alongside that. Every stage of childbirth can be explained incredibly rationally and pragmatically. You start encouraging people to think that children are like meant to be, or they come out of a magic place or some sort of divine nature, then you get some shit like this, potentially. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think it is rage bait, but like, you know, potentially.
Ultimately, the biggest reason I'm not taking on my IUD right now and trying for another baby is my husband is supposed to graduate in August. And there's a lot of unknowns with that graduation. We don't know where we'll have to relocate to, if we'll have to relocate. And so ultimately, I'd like to wait to officially start trying once some of those questions are answered. Also, I would like to have a baby in a month that we don't already have a kid. Right now we have birthdays, March April, May, June, July, August. We don't have one in September.
Genuinely, what the fuck is she even saying right now? This isn't like a game. It's not you having children's not a video game where you catch every month of the. Do you want to have 12 kids, each for a different month of the year? You have no money. How are you going to celebrate each and every one of their birthdays? I have family members with a lot of children. I have family members with a lot of children that aren't too financially well off. I myself know from very personal experience, seeing how stressed my parents and other parents around the neighborhood would be when Christmas comes around, just how fucking terrible it can be for low-income households, especially if they're going to school and talking to people who might have received much more extravagant gifts for Christmas, for example. It can feel as though, yeah, it can feel really shitty. So to arrange it so that every single child has a birthday on in each month of the year, it's like you're not gonna have a moment to yourself. One kid is hard enough. What the fuck is? I can't. Ugh. 7 kids. You already have 7. You already have 7. It's almost impressive that you want an 8th one, but no, I shouldn't say that. There's no virtue to it, because if you want an 8th child, that means you're definitely not taking care of the 7 you already have. If you were taking care of them properly, the thought of having an 8th child wouldn't even invade your mind. It's a thought that you would fucking kill. It's a thought that you would slam down with a shovel and bury 6 feet under the second you start to think about it, if you were genuinely taking care of your 7 children. The only possible way that you'd think it's novel or nice to have another child is if you're neglecting your 7 children so much that, you know, parenting just isn't a big deal to you, I guess.
And although I wouldn't mind having another baby in a month that we already have a birthday, I do kind of like that they all have their own birth month. So I would like to try to continue that. But yeah, we have talked about it, and ultimately we are not positive what we want to do. As of right now, I don't feel confident in taking out my IUD. But if we were to conceive a baby with the IUD in, we would be thrilled. Over the moon happy. Yeah, so I'm not opposed to having a baby. I just don't know that I'm ready to actually go take out my IUD and up the chances, if that makes sense.
Just actual insanity. I love the top comment here. Literally, what the fuck? I think it's a pretty reasonable comment, to be honest. What is... Hang on. Let's take a pregnancy test to see if my grandpa, who just passed away, sent me baby 7 for my birthday tomorrow. That is the most unhinged bio or caption for a TikTok I've ever seen in my life.
A couple tests. I'm supposed to get my period tomorrow, and I have a ton of symptoms of my period coming, but I've also felt very nauseous. So I'm gonna pee in a cup and dip these.
Oh my god, this is from 2024. What the fuck? Wait, this is baby 7, not baby 8. So this is like so maybe it's not rage bait, because it seems as though she was doing this exact type of content when it came to the birth of her 7th child as well. That makes it really fucking worrying. I still think it is rage bait if the IUD exists and all this shit, or maybe she's lying about the IUD so that when she actually becomes pregnant, she can claim it's some sort of divine miracle or divine intervention. I would still lean towards it currently being rage bait, but this right here is fucking insane, dude.
And then I'll come back and read the results. Okay, so I'm gonna dip this first. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think this means it's going, but I thought it would flash, so I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Maybe I just need a little bit more. Still not flashing, so we'll see. Okay, ovulation next. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going face down. And pregnancy. 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's going face down. This is flashing now. Face down. Everything is fixed down. I am going to jump in the shower. Okay, actually, before I jump in the shower, I just want to say I truly don't believe I'm pregnant, because I just don't see how it'd be possible. But like I said, I felt kind of nauseous. We also had a stomach bug just a few weeks ago, and it usually takes my stomach quite a while to kind of like regulate.
Why wouldn't it be possible? Does she have an IUD here as well? I mean, she ended up having baby 7, and the comments here are saying, like, congratulations and shit. So is this going where, like, is this the video where she announces the pregnancy of the 7th child? Is that really what's about to happen here?
Okay, so actually I've not gone in the shower yet, but it's been about 5 minutes, so I think I'm gonna go in and look. I had to go grab my scalp scrub because my head needs a good old scrubbing, and it took me a minute to find it. So I'm oddly nervous. I think I'm gonna start with the ovulation one, and it is positive. Very, very, very positive. Okay, I don't know, I just got even more nervous. Okay, I can't look yet. Oh my goodness. Why am I so nervous? Oh my god. Well, that is also positive, and that is, I'm like starting to shake. Okay. And it is, holy fuck. It is also positive. And I don't know how I feel right now. Yeah, so I am pregnant with baby number 7, and yeah, I want to be happy so bad. I think I just feel sad.
Why would you post this? If you're this depressed over the pregnancy, this kid's gonna grow up and, like, see this. Oh, I wonder how my parents reacted when I was fucking conceived, or when they found out they were pregnant with me, and then it's like her being depressed and shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird feeling. Because I want this baby. Don't get me wrong, I do. I just don't know that I was ready yet. Like, after losing my grandpa, like, yeah, I just don't know. This is, like, I can't help but feel like it's a birthday present from him because he's not here. But I wish he was here, so.
Okay, now I'm confused. Now it really doesn't seem like rage bait. Like, there's no way you're acting this well. And now I just feel, like, bad. Now I just feel sad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm pregnant, and I didn't expect it. I've had cramping, which I don't really get for my period, but I have before. It just felt so nauseous off and on.
So what's changed in the last 2 years to where she now thinks she is capable of having a child? Like, is she better off financially now than she was 2 years ago? Because she said that her husband's on workers' comp currently. There's no way they're doing, especially with a whole extra kid in the house, there's no way they're doing better now than they were back then. Oh, here's a comment. Low-income family of 9, was I rage baiting? 3 question marks. It's a great question. I don't think he'd release this video. Well, actually, I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Let's just actually watch, shall we?
And clear some things up. A lot of people are assuming I was rage baiting, and in the video that took off, I was not rage baiting. But out of complete honesty, yes, I have rage baited in the past. My trying to conceive videos are rage bait. I saw what TikTok could offer.
Oh, so she's saying that conceivation? Hang on, what the fuck do you call it? Who gives a fuck? The conceiving videos, those were rage bait. Well, that's a good weight off the shoulders at least. Fucking weird video, like really weird, strange videos to make. Like, they're just confusing. But like, I'm glad we've cleared that up at least. But she's saying that the shopping videos and stuff and the very irresponsible shopping and all that shit, those weren't rage bait.
We are struggling, and I want to be home with my kids. I want to raise my kids. That's why I had them. I love being a mom. It is like my joy in life. Do I have days where I'm like, why did I do this to myself? Heck yeah, I truly do. But ultimately, I saw that TikTok could give my kids an amazing life, like the best life. And so I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that following so that I can join the creator rewards program, so that I can start making money, so that I can start giving my kids vacations and stuff they haven't had in the last year. With that being said, though, I don't think I truly understood what would follow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you definitely do not want to, obviously the fact that it's rage bait is better than if it was real, but you don't want to make a career out of rage baiting and using your children for views or monetizing off of the worry that people have for your family or your children, or like the hatred that people have for you for pretending to be this irresponsible fucking dunce of a parent. Because it will end up like the Resilient Jenkins, where you get doxed, harassed, and that's not stuff that should be happening. But the sheer amount of hatred that you will receive for doing something like that will negatively impact your family, that will negatively impact your mental health and your actual ability to maybe get a job outside of TikTok, which is notorious for paying very low amounts of money, by the way, unless you get sponsorships and such. But I don't think there's many companies that would want to touch this lady with a 10-foot barge pole, or at the very least reputable companies that would actually pay well, if that makes sense. Point being is that, like, this is not a reliable source of income, and I think I am on the boat of I think she should be getting a job. I'm not saying she needs to work like 9 to 5 days a week, 40-hour working week, but she does need to have some level of income, I think, especially since currently the husband's on workers' comp and isn't working. As much as I understand it is so important to spend time with your children and be there for them and cook food and stuff, it's not going to be easy. But if you're a mother and you have 7 children and you're young and financially struggling, it's never going to be easy. But unfortunately, you just can't afford to be lazy or take shortcuts like people with money have the privilege of doing.
So if you are in a similar situation, I recommend just continuing to be authentic and posting whatever content it is that makes you happy, because in the end, I think that will be more beneficial if you can get a following of like-minded people in that aspect than this, because this has been hard. This has been hard. But going forward, I'm hopeful that being my authentic, genuine self will still bring in followers, and people will see that, like, the assumptions people are making of me are not all true.
Yeah, I don't think she's necessarily a bad person at all, but I will, like, she's very naive. Like, do not rely on TikTok blowing up. Do not rely on your videos blowing up to sort of miraculously save your family, if that makes sense. This is not a reliable, this is not a good plan. This is a really shitty plan. It's just like anyone else with a hobby or a passion. You get a day job, you work like every other fucker, and you do your hobby on the side in the hopes that one day the hobby explodes in popularity enough to where you can make it your actual job. It's what I did. It's what most people who are responsible do as well. Obviously, there are freak cases of people dropping everything and just going for their dream and it works out for them, but those are only the stories you hear about. You don't hear about the people who try and fail, because those ones never really those ones never really become popular. They're not very, they're not really marketable, are they? For every dropout that became a billionaire, there's about 1,000 dropouts that didn't make it. That's a sad truth about all that most people don't ever really acknowledge. But anyway, I think that's about it for this video. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Been having a lot of fun on YouTube, man. Got back to streaming the other day as well, so go check out the second channel if you're interested there. I want to do that a lot more often. I do love streaming. It's nice as well. It's nice to have started a new channel where I'm like rebuilding, if that makes sense. Because I've been doing Dankyjabo for maybe a little over 2 years now, and it's fun. It's still great. I'm still, very much, it's my dream job, but I'm still looking to expand. Like there's a lot of stuff that I really want to do. But it's fun. It's fun streaming and like feeding myself getting better and more confident at streaming. There's something really novel about that. Either way though, that's it for this video. So yeah, if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.